while the supply demand is the most essential factor even today, which will determine the future of the steel, the prices. But there are, after this pandemic, there are new set of challenges, or at least these challenges which were there, but they didn't have that significance. But now they have become very strong, and they have the capability to change the direction of the steel trade. Let's visit them one by one. Like first is the volatile raw material prices. Like iron ore, we all know, has dropped significantly, but higher coal prices are not allowing the mills to reduce the prices, their cost prices to that extent. Even the power tariff, like electricity, which makes around 15 to 20% of the steel production cost, these are extremely high across the globe.
We find that Odisha has successfully implemented business reforms in terms of many business reforms, I would say, in terms of land acquisition, tax structures, etc. So, which is a very important indicator of investment-friendly business climate in the country. And we saw that the business ease of doing business has also improved. Odisha has around 50% of the iron ore reserves of the total reserves of India. So, Odisha alone has 50% reserves of iron ore. And about 50 steel plants with a total installed capacity of 30 million ton has been announced and set up in Odisha. And along with this entire thing to enable investment in Odisha, the Odisha government has set up skill centers to cater to the needs for providing skilled manpower, which is one of the very important points. As the steel industry grows, it needs to be equipped with skilled manpower. And this is another initiative which has been taken out there, as well as that there is strong forward and backward linkages that have been put in place. Some of the proposed expansion projects by different players are shown out here. These are public domain sourced information. Any of you can actually get these, but it just shows in terms of how concentrated steel plant developments are coming up, and the scale at which people are bringing in the steel plants. That shows the promise that is there and the pull that is there. And overall, India is a growing country, as I mentioned, in terms of 5.5% to 6% kind of growth that we will see on a real or most likely scenario. It can be much more also. So that promise of the demand in India and the strength of Odisha, I think these two are gelling well. Overall, I would say in terms of while there is raw material resource available, there is a promise of demand available. There is a good thing that has happened in terms of transparency of auctions that have come into place, apart from ease of doing business, and these would support steel growth. So these are some of the things I thought I just wanted to share. There are challenges. It is not that while everything looks very positive, but there are challenges. If I have to just leave behind few challenges which are still there in terms of auctioning of mines, and so most of the steel players are enhancing raw material security through the process of auctions, which is a good process. But what we have seen recently is most of these auctions have been with a very high bid premiums, and certainly it is not viable for a standalone players. And we have found that many of the merchant miners who have won auctions are unable to sustain the projected profitability with the high bid premiums that they have placed, and are actually surrendering back the mines. This is one of the developments which we are seeing.
As a corporate in Vedanta, we are poised and focused towards driving the ESG. And if we talk about the ESG focus, where environment, social, and governance, these are the three key areas which are being driven. And a global footprint in line with our green technology introduction in our aluminium and steel making, as well as zinc making. We are having a lot of technological collaboration with our global partners, where I would also like to encourage my speakers, my leaders, and all the participants of this function. We are open to have a lot of technological collaborations to ensure that we are producing our green metal. be it any metal like aluminium or steel or rubber, zinc. So that is the focus we are working, and we are also expecting some strategic collaboration going forward so that we can really join hand and learn from each other for the global cause. We also focus upon the energy consumption reduction, energy efficiency improvement, all initiative related to energy saving, which can really make us carbon neutral kind of company going forward. So our approach is also well defined, and we are having very significant focus to drive such changes in coming expansion journey as well. Initiatives are also mentioned where we have started taking some of the critical initiative, and we are also having a lot of significant actions in our action map, which will be also covered in next 2 to 3 years to make ourselves as a green manufacturer of metal in India.
As my previous speakers have talked about the Indian economy, we had a setback in the COVID in last about 1.5 years or so. But I think we are now, we have overtaken that. That phase is behind us. We are looking at a very, very definitive growth phase for the Indian economy and also for the steel industry, as my fellow panelists have also brought out. And India is expected to be the probably the fastest growing economy in 2021. And we wish to catch up that growth and grow proportionately. This is some idea about the volumes that are produced or consumed in India. As you can see, the production and consumption has been growing at about 7 to 8% over the last couple of years. If we take the pre-COVID year of 2019 as a benchmark, the production was close to 4 million tons, and the market size was about 3.6 million tons, which came down in 2020. But during this year, we hope to get back on track and maybe get to the pre-COVID level of close to 4 million tons of production. And India, like rest of the steel industry, is also the second largest stainless steel producer in the world.
I would say definitely we are better prepared than we were earlier. We have now the infrastructure, and we have the proper systems in place. Even the companies who could not work suddenly, but now we have digitalization. We know what roles are very important. People are working from home. For last 2 years, I myself have not gone to office. Maybe you need to use the GPS to reach my office. So I think we are much better prepared. The user segments also, there was certain panic. The customers stopped buying. Like the world is going to end. But those kind of uncertainties are not there. So we are very confident that we will not see those kind of times again. We are better prepared.
In addition to Amit's point, also I would like to sum up the key initiative, what all the industries in India are taking and cooperating with the government, where we are focusing all the vaccination is being done for all the employees who are front runners, apart from our medical and police supports. All the industries are taking care of business partners engagement who are working in the plant. So focus of vaccination of all the corporate is very high, and that has also being seen through our lot of drive, where we have crossed 1.5 to CRs 2 crores population also more often recently. So we are well covered. I think 75 crores guys have been vaccinated, and which gives encouragement. We are really prepared for third wave, and we are going to have a very clear success as well as a nation.